We are back on Inside Politics. Our guest today is Ralph Shulz, the president and CEO of the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce. Ralph, two areas of the economy. First, we've been very strong in terms of recruiting and seeing businesses expand in Nashville. Is the pipeline still strong for that? And the second question is, we almost saw the convention business just go away during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Has that pipeline filled back up again?
Yes. The answer is yes to both. The pipeline for businesses interested in Nashville is strong. We have about 40 projects underway, but we're seeing a greater emphasis on industrial development as compared to office development. 60% industrial, 40% office. So the pipeline is strong, but keep in mind, Pat, the largest growth of jobs in this region comes from the businesses that are already here. 80% of that job growth comes from the businesses that are here. So that continues to be very strong. With regards to the hospitality business, some of those jobs have changed, but all of those jobs are back. Hospitality has now recovered.
Well, why is it when I go out, we keep seeing the signs that say the whole world is short-staffed? Are we going to continue to be short-staffed?
And, well, yes. I mean, just look at the basic numbers. Birth rate is down. Replacement rate of population is below what it needs to be. This isn't going to be a this year challenge. It's going to be a 20-year challenge. There are more jobs than there are people.
What are the people that are here that can work? Are they trained properly to be able to do it? Are we still short on technical workers and things like that?
Yes, there are high demand, advanced manufacturing, tech jobs, healthcare jobs. There are shortages in those categories. I think you see public policy, state and local, starting to aim education toward preparing students for those what we call opportunity jobs, jobs with a career, jobs with higher wages. But we're not supplying enough people for those jobs at this point.
So much talk over the last year about first the great resignation in the workforce and then about people coming back to their offices in the downtown areas. Are both those things solved now? Are we moving on? Or are they still issues in Nashville?
No, it's still in transition. I think a lot of people are having the experiences of remote work or the hybrid experience. I find businesses still adjusting to workforce needs and business needs, so it's not resolved yet.
In terms of Nashville being a very attractive community, it seems to me, particularly if you go out to the airport, every time I go out there, I feel like I'm in a different airport because it keeps changing and evolving. Mm-hmm. Their expansion plans seem to be well beyond what they ever thought they would be 5 years ago, and it's continuing to grow. Are we right on the verge in Nashville of seeing an even greater growth spurt than maybe we've seen in our lifetimes?
I don't think we're necessarily on the verge of a growth spurt, but I think we are engaged in a pretty steady growth process. One of the things I like about the airport, because that's a vital asset to our economic development, is really 5 years ago they were looking at this possibility, and that's why you see what's happening out there happen. They've already looked down the line, and they see they're going to be continuing to build out there.
In terms of tourism and things like that, I'm seeing more talk about they're adding an international terminal to take care of that. Are we likely to see soon some new international flights? Which ones might likely be the first cities that would come here?
That would be a question better answered by the airport authority. But we're partners in pursuit of overseas travel, both to the east and to the west. So, there are some things that have to be put into place for those flights to be able to occur.
Like the gates.
Putting in 6 gates of international is one of those important hurdles.
The big buzz in Nashville right now seems to be about what Mayor Cooper and the Titans want to do in terms of building a new $2.1 billion roof stadium over on the East Bank to replace Nissan Stadium. It would be the largest public construction project in Nashville history. The Chamber of Commerce has endorsed it. Why?
After study and creating an independent review, something we hired a firm to do an independent review of all the data, what our leadership concluded and what our membership concluded, because we surveyed our membership on this issue as well, is that number one, the Metro has an obligation to the team. Number two, with the state participation and the team participation, the liability to the city drops. Number three, the revenue is viable to service the debt, and the taxpayer will not be hung with the bill. And then finally, the economic impact is very positive. With the exception of one study, every study that's been done about the economic impact over the next 20, 30 years is positive.
But critics say the city should be spending more of its resources and focus on affordable housing, workforce housing, homelessness, and problems in the neighborhoods all over the city, not just creating a new neighborhood in East Nashville. How do you respond to that?
I say this is going to generate more revenue to address some of those issues. When you look at the concentration of tax collections in downtown, and you look at the concentration of tax collections that will be over in that space, you're talking about a very exponential collection of taxes. I think 8% of all taxes in Nashville, in Davidson County, are collected in downtown. You're going to see that same thing happen there.
Now, some fear this new development on the East Bank in some ways will just transport some of the problems that we see every night over on Lower Broadway. Is Nashville's ongoing thirst for tourists and the tourism dollars they bring in here already getting kind of out of hand?
Yeah, I think you know, when I think about thirst, I think people are thirsty to come to Nashville. Okay, but we have a management of growth challenge in the downtown area with our entertainment activity. We're stepping up, organizations, the community stepping up to manage those issues. So I would answer your question by saying I think there's a broad strategy cooking that's going to be beneficial to both downtown and East Bank.
You mentioned the state involvement with the stadium. They're also involved with the new renovations that are planned and bringing NASCAR back to the Speedway out at the fairgrounds. Is it nice to see that the legislature and the Metro Council can get along? Is that a problem that if this continuing back and forth between those two groups, Metro versus the state, is that a problem for our economic development?
I think it's great, first of all, to see the state and Metro working together, and I know they're working together on some of the mobility issues, transportation issues as well. Look, I heard former Governor Bredesen say this one time: partisanship's not a bad thing. It stimulates important conversation. The important thing is to be able to come together in the end on the objective. That's where we need to focus.
Ralph Shulz is our guest. He's the president and CEO of the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce. We're talking about Nashville's economy in 2022 and what to look for in 2023. Back with more after this break.